Hello, everybody, and welcome to tonight's stream. And if you were catching us live, you'll realize that there may have been some technical issues, which is why we're starting all over again. Or is it just deja vu? Who knows? Anyway, I'm here with Till. Till, welcome.
Hello again, somehow.
Or for the first time,
Or
if
for
this is
the
the
first
first time you're
time.
catching the stream.
Yeah.
And so, yes, tonight is a slightly different format from what it normally is. We are starting with Project DEIOS and insight into Project DEIOS. And then we will be moving into the Battlemap Editor because there's some exciting things happening in that Battlemap Editor. There is a demo coming up. What's coming up in Project DEIOS, however? Well, there's some heartwarming stuff. We've got a green card, we've got a new patch, we've got a missing script, we've got a new assets that we will be exploring, and then we have refactoring, which, yes, if you know what that is in chat, put your hands up, tell us what refactoring is. I think someone has already answered it correctly. I didn't know what it was, but we're going to find out tonight. So that's what we're doing. Hopefully everyone is with us who was with us previously, and so we can carry on as per normal. Right, Till, we are going to need some music, if you please, as we switch over to the news section of Project DEIOS. Here we go. I don't know where you get it. I don't know where these come from. Yeah, that's brilliant. That's absolutely brilliant. All right, lovely. So we're talking about Project DEIOS. We're talking about all of the kinds of news that could happen. And we're going to start with a wonderful story. Now, if you have been watching Project DEIOS for the last couple of months, quite a lot of months, as a matter of fact, you will know that a lot of the programmers who work on Project DEIOS were actually from Russia. And we're trying to get out of Russia because of the whole Ukrainian war fiasco that's going on. And there was all kinds of late night crossings of borders and frantic sort of applications and things. And there's a happy story that's come out of it. There's an Austrian bureaucratic miracle, as a matter of fact. Till, can you tell us what it was, what's happened?
Yes, sure. Okay. So, for those of you who know, you did a perfect summary of that. Ilya, who is one of our programmers, he was, as everyone else, really shocked when all the things came down to the Ukraine crisis, and he left the country about a year ago. And it was good to do so because a month later he got drafted. So he has been actually traveling around the world now for almost a year, hopping from country to country, to just, let's say avoid the conflict and just work for us as a programmer as he intended to do in the first place. And starting in fall last year, we began with the bureaucratic nightmare of bringing him over to Austria, getting him a green card. Now, the thing is, when you're applying for a green card in Austria, that alone can be difficult unless you have a company that is requesting you. So we as a company were requesting Ilya, which made it a bit easier. However, his wife also left the country and they were traveling together. Now, when you try to get both into Austria, and his wife is a lawyer, so she has the Russian lawyer's degree, which is not actually applicable to Europe or to Austria. So if you want to do that and bring them in at the same time, that is almost impossible. However, and that's where the miracle happens, this month in March, we got the confirmation that not only Ilya got his, we're not calling it a green card, we're calling it a red, white, red card. because of the Austrian flag. So Ilya got his red, white, red card, and his wife, Margot, got it at the same time. So they're both, typically it is, you have to, the worker comes in first, then you have to do the application for the family members, and then the family members can join. And there's often 6 to 8 to 12 to 18-month time difference where they are separate. So we were really celebrating when we got the news that they both got their card at the same time, which means that in May, they are coming in. We are right now in the process of finding apartments, finding an apartment for them. And it also inspired Andrei, who's currently working from Serbia, to do the same thing. So hopefully by the end of the summer, we have Ilya and Andrei both here, and which is amazing because A, it means that we can all work much more closely together in the same room. And B, it also means that I think we've achieved something by helping them get out of that mess, because I think none of us can picture the stress and the pain and the anxiety that comes along with the fact that you had to flee your home country and are now for a year traveling around, not really knowing where your roots are or where you will stay. So I'm so happy that we can put an end to this and have him here. And I'm very much looking forward to have him join our team here in Austria.
It's fantastic, fantastic news. Yeah, it's just lovely. It's just lovely when these things work out. So, all right. Well, from one good news story to possibly another one, I'm hoping. At the time, we didn't really have much time to talk about it till patch 0.5.7 is coming. What do we need to know about that?
Well, it's coming this week. We were hoping to release it today, but unfortunately, testing it showed us that if we would release it today, Mac users would have a really bad time because it is corrupting maps on the Mac. So we said, okay, we cannot release it right now. There was a bit of a discussion whether or not we release Windows and Linux builds and release Mac later. But that would make it more complicated for our release pipeline. So instead we said, okay, let's take another 2 days. So we're aiming for Thursday to release it. And the patch comes with the new asset pack as always, but it also comes with a lot of improvements. We've reworked our build scripts and the engine, the pipeline that builds the application, which means that load up will be much faster there. We had a lot of bug fixes that we could actually do. Yeah, and that's just the world map editor. So patch is coming, 5.7. It's coming this week. It's coming again with the new asset pack with a lot of bug fixes and updates. But we have to wait until Mac is available as well. Our fallback, if Mac is resisting, is that we at least release Windows and Linux Thursday or Friday, and then deliver Mac once we've squashed the bug.
There you go. Nothing wrong with that. Okay, so now I'm just going to go to the next slide because there we go. Right, because the script changed around a little bit. So Wondrous Empires is the next map pack that is coming out with this patch. I mean, it's in the name to a degree, but tell us a little bit of history about this map pack.
Okay, originally we had on the Kickstarter, we had a voting on which settings would people like to see. And Wondrous Empires was, I think, the third highest ranking, if I remember correctly. which is historical Earth history buildings, based on, as the name says, based on old empires that can be found all over our beautiful Earth. So Keora, I think, did an amazing job, and he actually did a lot of research too. So that was one of the packs where he sat down and did mood boards over mood boards and picture search over picture search to research assets and the art style that came with each. Because if once we see them, you will understand that all those empires come with different architectural styles or requirements to their design. So to reflect them, it is, I think it was quite a demanding job, and he did it, as always, fantastic.
Absolutely. Here they are. What I love about his art packs is effectively he's given them different colors, but they work in different ways. So that, as you say, there is a very clear, this is Egyptian, this is Greco-Roman, this is Babylonian, you know.
Yeah, Assyrian, I think, is there as well. So not only by shapes and by architecture, but also by coloring. And again, I think what he's doing here too is he's also researching on what colors would be believable or available. So this is, if you want to do something with a world map based on Earth history, I think you'll find all the stuff that you need in there. And as always, you also have those combinable assets where you can kind of stick together different types and build your own temple. So yeah, I think it's quite an amazing pack.
I mean, there is a little bit of a scary thing when you look at those things. You've got a stepped, tiered, columned, pointed, different types of pyramids. But that also represents, what, nearly 4,000 years worth of human history? That's more than we've currently had of the modern day era, isn't it? And you that just boggles the mind. But what's your favorite, Till?
Well, that's a tough question. I'm not sure if I like the ships. Like if you look at, I'm not sure. I'm trying to
the galleys.
Yeah, the galleys. There are a lot of beautiful ships in there. I'm not sure if I will ever use a lot of Greco-Roman for my games.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm obviously I'm super happy with the pyramids, but also I think the Assyrian stuff is really cool. And all the decoration for the pyramids in the Egyptian style is amazing. It's hard to pick, but I would say Egypt and maybe Babylonian. I don't know. So many good things.
So many good things.
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, I think they're all just stunning, as you say. What's your favorite? If you're watching and you're having a look at these, what do you particularly? I do quite like the Colossus. The bronze Colossus is pretty awesome as a giant sort of bronze statue, I guess. Yes. Pretty damn.
If you want to play with them again, they will be part of the next patch 0.5.7. And as always, once the patch has been released, it will also go on to the account manager, so you can download the PNGs as well.
There we go. And chat saying gold capped pyramid is pretty awesome. It is. So there you are. Lovely. Right. So from reflecting on our past to refactoring on our present, I think that's a legal sentence. I'm not entirely sure. Till, what is refactoring when it's at home, and why did you guys spend almost a month doing it? And now that you've done it, what does that mean for us?
Why? For what? How? Okay.
Yes.
The reason. Let's start from the beginning. The reason why we shifted DEIOS into our first slide, or in our first segment today, is mainly because we don't have a lot to show for DEIOS this month, and the reason for that is that apart from doing the patch with the asset packs and bug fixing, we spend our time refactoring the roads tool. So what does refactoring mean? I'm not a programmer. So in my words, it means reworking, cleaning up the code, making sure that everything is, well, free of, how do you call it, relics, artifacts, things that you just don't need. So it's basically, it's housekeeping. And over the course of our prototyping, our roads tool deviated more and more away from what it should be, especially since we have a rivers tool and we have a world map roads tool as well. And now we had suddenly 3 different libraries, tools that were kind of related, but they all kind of went into their own direction, which is fine if you're doing spaghetti coding for prototyping and you're just playing around with stuff, but it will get a problem once you try to bring things back together. Now, if you have watched our last episode of Mapping It Out, you saw where our roads prototype has been, which is very close to where it should be in terms of how the roads creation and the asset placement is. So now we looked at it and we said, okay, wait. Now that we're getting into intersections, road intersections and road junctions, that is actually something that we might need for rivers as well. And we might need it for those conceptualized world map roads too. So if we now start to do something in the prototype and then have something completely different for the rivers and then have something completely different for the other roads, it will end in tears. It will eventually, it will consume so much time to bring it all back together. So we said, okay, let's take this month and refactor the roads tool in a way that it is kind of the grandparent to what all the other roads-like tools will be in the future. And that is coding. I would love to show new stuff, but all I could show is how neat and clean the new code is, because there's not much visually to present today. But still, it was a lot of progress because we've done it, we've finished it, which means that starting next week, we will continue on the roads tool and we will start working on the intersections and like the bigger road artery system, which makes it much easier now because now it is a refactored tool that we can easily pick up and start working.
So does that mean that, because as you were saying that it makes sense for the rivers to potentially have the same ability to create tributaries and branches, as you say, it's like tick box, this is a river, tick box, this is a road. So roads usually don't have 45-degree angled branches, what rivers usually do, or somewhere around there. So is that basically what you guys are going to be implementing?
Yes. So if you think of a bone structure, you basically, if you want to draw something, you click a point, you either draw or you click and place. And all those dots are connected. So whether or not you want to have a river that joins into a bigger stream, or you want to have a road that disconnects and creates an intersection into a sub-road, the bone structure is the same. So it needs the same fundamentals to work. Which means that at the point when we have our forking or our intersections implemented, we can take that and kind of create something for the rivers. It would be too easy to say it's a tick box and say now it's a river, because I think there are differences. But sure, at least the bone structure is the same. And it kind of builds on top of the same mechanical groundwork.
So what are the prospects for April? Are we going to see some of this in action?
I hope so. I sincerely hope so. I think so, because again, the refactoring took us a lot longer than we anticipated, but it is now completely cleaned up. So all we need to do now is we need to add new functions in, instead of trying to build the fundamentals first. So I sincerely hope, I'm very confident that we can see intersections with roads and probably some of the first different road types in April, because that's our goal.
And then just a last question, you might not even have looked at it yet. The maps that we've created at the moment using the current river system, would that just be swapped out, or would we have to go back and redo those river systems?
I can't answer that. My feeling would be that we can replace, like if we have map versioning already in the Battlemap Editor, which means that when you create a newer version, like when you update your application and you open a map with an older version, it gets migrated into the newest version. So I would very much assume that it means that we can update rivers, because we're not changing rivers per se, we're changing kind of the bone structure. But as always in alpha, there's no guarantee, and we will see.
Yeah, makes sense. All right, that brings us to the end of the DEIOS update for March. April sounds like it's going to have a lot of cool stuff in it. Now, if you're wondering, hang on a moment, the stream isn't usually only 28 minutes long. What's happened? Did I miss the Battlemap section? No, you didn't. It's coming up. We've switched it around this month. As we've dealt with DEIOS, we're now going to take a very brief break, and we will be back with the Battlemap Editor. And in that one, we've got a demo of something that Till made the mistake of telling me, oh, it means I can make a map in under 7 minutes. So we have the 10-minute map challenge coming up just after this. So stay with us, bring your questions, your thoughts, your ideas, and of course we'll also be showcasing community maps, and there are some breathtaking maps tonight, so don't miss that. We will be back shortly.
What's got you down, Ogre?
It's my dungeon, Gobbler.
What's wrong with it?
It could be so much more, you know? With more stuff.
It can't be that bad. Let me have a look. No, you've got a nice swamp full of snakes and spicks. Ah, snakes and spikes. Very nice.
But, I mean, that's it. How am I supposed to attract adventurers with that?
2 words. DungeonFog.
Dungeon what?
DungeonFog.
For over 3 years, we have put all our love and determination into making DungeonFog the best Battlemap map-making tool out there. Thanks to you, our amazing community, Game Masters can pick from over 10,000 community-created and shared maps, and can turn them into their own epic dungeons to use and share. None of this would have been possible without you. Thank you. And may our tools always help you to create maps your players will never want to leave unexplored.
So, what do you think, Gobbler?
Well, it certainly is different. Different.
No, not Project DEIOS. Damn it. Hello, and we're back. And there was a technical thing, because that's what happens when we change the order of things around, Till. That's what happens. Dear, oh dear, oh dear. All right, well, welcome to the Battlemap Editor mapping it out section of the video for tonight, for this month. And we've got some very exciting things happening. If you've just joined us, and if you haven't joined us, then you know what's coming up, but I'm going to remind you anyway. So firstly, if you've got any questions, please write the word question in caps and drop it into chat. And as soon as it comes through, I'll try and ask it to Till. So if you've got any questions, go ahead, throw them in there, and we will try and answer them. Now, we've got Q1 achievements. Quarter one for this year has come to an end, or will come to an end in 3 days, I guess. And so we're going to reflect back on what is happening in quarter one. We have a big patch update coming in, and we're going to learn more about that. We have a new systems background. We've got our community highlight as usual. We've got some cool new stuff coming in to the marketplace. And my favorite, we've got the 10-minute speed map challenge, in which Till is going to create, or try to recreate, a map in under 10 minutes. Now, I know that you can make maps in DungeonFog pretty quickly, but I have to say, doing an outdoor map in 10 minutes, well, let's see what happens. Anyway, so there we go. Right, let's jump straight into it. And so, Till, we are talking news, I think. So that means I need some music from you, probably. Oh,
Sure.
No.
Battlemap news.
Things have been updated and I got myself confused. All right, so with news, let's go straight into this. Q1, quarter one. So that's what? January, February, and March.
And March, exactly.
And March. All right, so March not yet over.
Happen? How did Q1 already rush by? I don't know. It's insane. So let's do our first quarter review.
Absolutely. There you go.
There we go. Okay.
Get out the way.
So in regards to our goals for Q1 and Q2 this year, we have basically all that's left, the asset manager that is still being worked on, still in progress. We did a little bit of a sneak peek in the last episode of Mapping It Out, where we looked at the first design concepts. So we have, we did a quick break from the asset manager to do something else, mainly because Ferret's wife delivered, and he is now father of a beautiful daughter, which meant that he had to stop developing for a couple of weeks, which meant that we said, okay, let's then fill it up with something else. And Andy worked on stage textures and map backgrounds instead. But now we're back on working on the asset manager, and I'm hoping that probably in April, or in May at least, we will be able to show first demo of it. Now, in regards to the community hub, we tackled a few things. We wanted to do stuff, and we did. So usability has been improved. We have new suggestion algorithms in there that show that kind of change the way the hottest maps work and the latest maps added. The themes are, I'm not sure if it's part of the next patch that's coming or if it already has been released, but the themes have already been updated. So I saw them already on the test server. And in regards to the marketplace, we wanted to grow the marketplace with new artists, and we did so. So that one is done too. That's kind of, it's not ending there. We're not like, oh, we've added new artists, we're done. But we wanted to bring in the map cartographer in the first quarter, and he has joined us now. Now the only thing left for us to do is make it possible that you can also, as part of marketplace assets, you can also purchase full map packs. And that is being worked on.
Lovely.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I think I'm quite happy with where we are. It's everything as predicted. Not much of like delays. So yeah, pretty cool. Nice first quarter.
Yeah. All right. And so asset manager is probably Q2, and then, as you say, doors, windows, paths, and walls.
Well, that's long term. That is same as stage textures and map backgrounds. It's basically something that we can either pick when we see a gap and we say, okay, let's tackle this now. Or a lot of it is scheduled for after the asset manager MVP, which means minimal viable product. Thank you. Is ready, right? So we want to do the asset manager first, and then we'll tackle the rest, which means we'll start as soon as the asset manager is done. And or pick it in between if we got any kind of gaps, roadblocks where we say, okay, let's quickly shift gears, do something else instead.
Makes sense. Some questions have come in, which I think are quite interesting. Colin Porter asks, is it possible to make a room with a clear floor so that it would still register as a room with contents and not just drawing walls?
So the way that the current version 5 renderer works, it's not possible. The best way to cheat around is give the floor the same texture as the outdoor surroundings. That makes it look like it is a clear floor. If you want to look beneath into levels below, that is currently not possible. It is one of the highest requested features. So we've already made sure that it is possible in version 6. But you will have to wait until we have version 6, which is not, like, as you can see up here, is probably 2023, which is a very, very optimistic guess.
You mean 2024?
Yeah, I mean, we're in Q1. We finished Q1. We're almost done with 2023.
2023 is basically over. Yeah.
So version.
I'm trying to think. Why would you want a transparent floor? Why would you want a transparent floor?
Well, first of all, you might want to have something from if you build a multi-level dungeon.
Sure.
You probably would have to. You want an indoor balcony, for example, where you can look at the floor beneath. You might want to create, well, you might want to create a glass floor, or what else? There are many scenarios. I can see this conversation happening quite a lot in Discord, where it's the question is coming up. Unfortunately, the way that we render rooms at the moment is not working. However, with the paths and walls thing that is planned for this year, there is a workaround because we want to replace, or we want to give an additional option for room walls to be drawn by paths instead of our kind of rendered texture walls, which means that that paths will also be able to block light, which means that you could actually just draw the walls surrounding it. And then you could use the walls, group it with the assets, and then you have something that is transparent that you can move around.
Lovely. Okay. And chat's giving us a whole lot of similar sort of things: glass floor, mezzanine levels, balconies, staircases, holes in the ground, and so on. Okay. Second question from Incubus Gaming is: would anyone be able to sell a map pack? Is it only invited artists at the moment?
If you want to sell map packs, it's a curated marketplace, which means that if you want to sell map packs, reach out to us. And we will definitely have that conversation and bring you into the marketplace. However, curated means that we can't just, it's technically not possible to open the marketplace in a way that you can simply sign up and start selling connected with your bank account or whatsoever, or PayPal. That's not working. There's a contract involved. We need to set up stuff so that you can sell on the marketplace. But if you want to become a seller, reach out to me. Just let me know, and we can start that conversation. And yeah, and we will see.
There you go. All right. Okay, patch. There's a patch, or is it a culmination of patches that's coming up?
So this is you can't read it, but I can tell you this is 5.11, I believe.
5.11, yes. Sorry.
Yeah. So this is the next patch, and it is coming. We're not fairly sure when. We hope before Easter. That's what we're aiming for. Our best guess is that next week we have it finished in QA testing. There might be a few more bugs that are found, and once they are done, we will release it. So it's within the next 10 to 14 days that this patch will hit the live service. And it comes with some really cool new features, like the background images that we will be exploring today as part of the demo. We have added in half-grid snap, which means that all our tools are now not only snapping to the grid connector points, but to the half points there as well. All the control points are now snapping if you want to do that for your control points as well. And we have reworked our internal kind of coordinate system, which means that stuff like texture offset and blueprint anchoring, stuff like that are possible now. We've started with blueprint anchoring. For those of you who have no idea what that means, if you put a blueprint on the map and you later expand the map by making it wider or higher, it would have shifted the blueprint around because there was no proper inherited coordinate system in there. Now that we have the coordinate system, we can do a lot of stuff with it. And the easiest one was to actually anchor our blueprints, and that's what we did. But there's more to come. We already know that we want to do offsets for textures. We want to do coordinate positioning, X and Z, or X and Y coordinates for props, so you have a perfect aligning for them. So yeah, and then there is just a bunch of bug fixes. So this is a big patch that will bring a lot of new features, and also will tackle a lot of the stuff that you have been reporting for the past couple of weeks or month. We had a lot of time to tackle those, so I'm really looking forward to it. It's going to be an exciting one.
Mm-hmm. Just take us a little bit through the half-grid snap.
Yes.
Because I'm super excited for that.
Okay, so we're going to see it in the demo, but the idea is that if you think of a grid being a square or hex, which it works for hex grids as well, then you have the corner points, and in the middle would be the half of that corner point, right? So when you have a snap to grid active, whether it's the prop or it's the control point for the rooms tool or whatsoever, it's not only suggesting the corner points anymore, but it's suggesting the middle point between those corners and the center point of the square itself. So you basically have 9 connector points per grid that you can connect to, that work for all the tools. We had a conversation about, well, we need a quarter snap too. And I was like, yeah. Let's see how important that becomes. But right now, I think the half grid snap is going to solve. There was a workaround beforehand where people were halving their grid size while working on the editor and then blowing it back up to work around that problem, which is now solved. And one of the coolest things, I hope, let me not forget to show it in the demo. The circle points, if you want to make a circular wall or a curved wall, they're now also snapping, which means that you can do much more precise corners, which is super cool. So that one is, I think that's a big one.
It is.
Although it's not that much. It was a lot of coding to get it in all the tools. But it sounds like a no-brainer, but it will change working with the editor, I think, quite dramatically.
Lord God is saying pentagonal rooms, potentially. Yeah. So there you go. Lovely. Right. You've been talking about system backgrounds. Talk to us some more. What exactly are the new system backgrounds?
Okay. So here's the thing. Mainly because of the community hub and the way that our artists have approached us. We've realized that with the textures that are in the system, which are seamless textures, but they are, of course, they are, as all seamless textures, quite repetitive at some point. So the bigger the map gets, the smaller the textures get, the more you can see the same pattern repeat and repeat and repeat over and over and over. Now, we have always been asked, from the moment we introduced the blueprints, we've been asked, well, can we use the blueprints also as an image that we can draw upon? And the answer was, no, the blueprint is basically, as the name suggests, it is a helper. You can upload a picture that is guiding you to draw your own map. Now, over the course of the last 2 years, we've realized that we probably are too strict on this ruling, because it is, why not allow uploading an image like a map and draw upon this map? Of course, the main concern is that this might be abused to share non-IP property. But the way that we've improved our, not the marketplace, the community hub, is that it is much easier for us now to actually look for those things. And there will be a reporting tool coming very soon as well, where you can report a map if you feel like this map is betraying IP. For artists like Kiora or the Mac Cartographer, they said, well, it would be really cool if we could provide map backgrounds together with assets, so that kind of like the sticker book that my daughter used when she was younger, is you have the predefined sticker page, and then you have all the stickers that you can put on. So it's basically just, it's the map and you put stuff on it. So that was the core concept behind it, where we said, okay, how can we do this? And then we looked at it and we said, we don't like the way that our textures, like the core textures, work at the moment. How can we change that? We looked at what's the average size of a battle map and how can we tackle that in accordance to the map backgrounds. So Tony and I have been working for over a month now on concepts and experiments on how to do this. And I think we are really close to where it should be. So moving forward from once the background system has been released, each map pack will basically contain of background images and combinable assets that can be bundled into a new pack, which makes it so much easier and so much more flexible to create beautiful looking maps, because you don't have to use tons of brushes. You can, of course, but you don't have to create nice looking maps. And if you no idea what I'm talking about, I think we have a few slides there to explain it and a demo. So I can show you how that works.
First, we have a couple questions.
Yes, of course.
When you say the average battle map size, what is the average battle map size?
Well, that very much depends on what you're trying to do with the battle map, right? We've identified also from the maps that are being created on the community hub, or that are being shared on the community hub. We kind of, many people use different, like there are tons of different sizes, but there are trends that we can identify. So we basically identified 3 different types of sizes. The close combat, which is based on the rule system. Like let's talk D&D for a moment. If you're playing 5th edition D&D, close combat means that if you need a battle map, or if you want to use a battle map, it needs to be at least 12 grids in each dimension to make it interesting, because otherwise you wouldn't need a battle map at all, because there's no movement involved. The reason why you want to have a battle map is because you want to have at least some tactical movement. If each player and NPC can reach each other within 1 round, and the whole room is so contained, so condensed, that there is no positioning necessary, well, then you don't really need anything for a battle map. So close combat, I would say, is 12 by 12 or 15 by 15, depending on how much space you want to give there. But that's close combat. The next would be medium range combat, which means that tactical positioning is becoming important, especially when you start working with difficult terrain. So 20 by 20 would be a medium-sized tactical encounter map. And then you have exploration maps, and exploration maps are basically open-end, right? But our editor can also only do so much before it starts to really get stressed. So we define 40 by 40 grids, which equals 200 feet in each dimension, is what we call an exploration map. So what we tried to do was we tried to tackle all those 3 cases. And I think we did a good job there.
All right. And let's have a look.
Yes.
So what are we looking at here?
So this is a map, right? And the thing is, where do I have to move? I have to move somewhere here. What I was trying to illustrate here is that if you look at this map, especially at a zoom level like 100%, like this, the map behind Guy is the complete map. And zoomed out, you have details, but on a zoom level, that wouldn't be a map that the player sees, either because you're playing on the table or you're using a VTT. The zoom level would be actually much higher. So the 2 images behind me, those would be kind of appropriate zoom levels. Now, when you look at that, you have cliffs, grass, floor, like wood floor, forest floor, trees, all those things in there. So my question to you, Guy, would be, if you think about drawing a map with our current editor and adding all those details in there, how much time would it take?
Let's see. So putting down the paths and, well, just building the floor texture, because I don't know if it's very clear to you folks at home, but it's not just grass. There's lots of little patches, like underneath the trees. There's some foliage. Lord God says it would take ages. I've seen you at work, Lord God. I know it would take you 3 hours or less. Yeah, probably about 2 to 3 hours. I'd say.
I would say so
somewhere
too.
there.
And again, it would be the main reason for that would be because you would be using different brushes to actually create some variety
In the grass textures. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Now, another thing that we feel like we're currently lacking is consistency between textures and assets. So you're using our base texture pack, which has its own inherent style, and then the assets that Tony drew, which again has another style. So bringing those together, I think, makes the map so much more interesting. So how did we do that? The next slide then explains how this is actually technically achieved.
And folks, by the way, if you were like me and you went, where did that face come from? That face is not a prop asset. It's not. Where did that come from? Where did that come from, Till? You can't cheat and add in things. Where did that come from?
Yes, I can, because it will be added with the new patch.
Aha! There we go. All right.
So here you can see what the background system actually means. So behind Guy, you can see that each background comes with a plain background, and then two to three combinations of the background, always as a flat background image, but also as textures that work with that background. Now, again, the problem is, if you think about this, those are 4K images. So the stream doesn't do justice to the level of detail that's on that map. So I did my best to give you a little magnifier glass here to see what level of detail you actually have on that map. And the way that we're doing it is that Tony is creating those by hand, and I then combine them to create kind of interesting patterns. But the goal is that they are, how do you say, non-repeat, like not repeating. They don't follow a pattern. They are hand drawn and hand detailed. Behind me, you can see that you will find those in the new, like in the prop library tool. The prop picker will offer a new category called background images or something like that. We will let you know once we release it. And when you place such a background onto the map, the system takes over, and A, you can see that the background has a new icon, this kind of dashed line thing. And B, backgrounds are always placed at the bottom and then stacking in succession to the next background that you place down. And I can show in the demo, we have also introduced a little workaround or an addition to the tools panel. So it's much easier to lock backgrounds now that once we introduce it, because that can get tedious if you have the backgrounds placed down and then you accidentally select them all the time. So that's the idea. You have those background images, you have a library of background images. They are combinable to all the degrees that you can think of. So instead of brushing a 40 by 40 stage with textures, you can now just place them down and start decorating right away. And we will do the same thing for all the map packs that are coming. And we will, of course, also start looking at indoor stuff, because right now we're just doing outdoor, because that's where you really need to do a lot of brushing. But indoor will be coming as well. So if you enjoy that, if you like that, and that is, again, we're trying something new here. And once we have released that, we will collect feedback on that. And we will be really happy if you start telling us whether or not you like the new system, you enjoy it. If you're missing something, if you would like to see improvements, because I feel like if that works and plays out the way that we envision it, it will be a game changer for the software, and it will be our new way to go for everything that we will continue in terms of releasing as part of the content subscription.
Makes sense. Makes sense. We've got a lot of questions here. So Lord God says, how does this export, or is this functionality only available in the campaign manager?
No. This is part of the stage rendering. So if you press export, boop, it comes out, it exports. Which means, again, we will see that the new asset manager, even the old asset manager, we tweaked the old asset manager to support it, but the new asset manager will be much more user-friendly in that regards. But it means that if you have maps that you probably did in another software ages ago, you can import them. You can place them on your map. They are there. You can start working over them, and you can export them. And they're part of the export image as well, which was not true for the blueprints, but it is now for the backgrounds.
Incubus Gaming says, how will this help people who use templates filled with brushes and assets? Basically, who make their own backgrounds.
Yes. So, well, first of all, you don't have to use it because it comes with all the brushes. So if you want to use templates, because we have a template system in DungeonFog, you can do so. It is, again, I think it is something that helps you to set interesting, lively backgrounds to scenes that you want to design. And then you can start combining them with existing. You can combine them with existing templates. Myself, I already realized when I was playing around with it that at least some of my, for example, I have a few forest templates that I'm using as prop templates. I have to adjust. I want to adjust the textures there because it suddenly looks so much better if everything falls in line. I hope that answers your question.
I think it certainly answers it in my head anyway. Okay. Right. I think that's it, except that it looks like someone, and I'm not going to mention any names, but it starts with a B and the second name starts with a K, has now pledged to make all of the Diablo 2 maps with this new technology. Don't know why that pledge was made, but it's been made, so we'll be watching you to add that now to wherever it might be. So there you go.
Wait. Taking notes.
Taking notes. All right. So Till, this is basically...
So this is just the last slide, again, explaining how small-sized battle maps work, medium-sized and large-sized. So the thing is, we are creating them as 20 by 20 grids. Yes, 20. My brain is like, yes, math. 20 by 20 grids with 100 pixels per grid, which equals a 4K map. A 4K image. That is the right balance between our editor can still load such a big image, and it is tailored to the most maps, especially the medium and small sized maps that you want to create. But it is done in a repeatable, seamless pattern, which means that if you want to have a bigger map, you can start to tile those backgrounds and they work as tiled images as well. So that's the idea behind.
That's the idea. Lovely. All right, the masses, the mobs, the unwashed rebels are screaming for a demo. Well, actually, it's just Bozy, but, you know, it still fits. Shall we do your 10-minute challenge? Because you are saying that you're going to recreate this map in under 10 minutes.
Yes.
From scratch, not cheating, not having the map as a template.
Yeah. Oh, should have done that. No, not cheating. Yes. Let's do it. Let's use all the tools that are in on the test server to recreate that map and see how it works.
All right, let's switch over. Before we switch over, no, we'll switch over and then I'll come to the next question that's been asked.
Yes.
Okay, here we go for the demo. 3, 2, 1. Giant till, small till, and
Yes.
give me a second.
And get rid of green screen.
Get rid
Exactly.
of green screen. There we go. All
There
right,
we go.
everything is fine. And I wanted to just add a little something.
Oh no, you're putting a timer up there, right? Oh, I hate.
Maybe. Your time started 5 seconds ago.
And you've already started the time. Okay, so let's try to make this. So first of all, if you don't know what size that is 40 by 40. So we're doing a big map. And I want to quickly get my background images because that is what we're going to do. Oh no, it's rotated. We need to stop that 0 and put it back to 100. So this is it. Now let's do snap to grid because that makes my life much easier. So as you can see, snap to grid now snaps to all the subsegments. Okay, let's place it. Let's just quickly see because I don't want to drop shadow on that. Duplicate, place another one. Duplicate, place another one. Duplicate, place another one. There you go. Now, if I zoom in, oh, I just realized that there's a difference between making the map just for myself and also demoing what I'm doing. So I'm stressed. Okay, so it's seamless, and look at the details. Isn't that just gorgeous? Okay, done. We're not looking at it anymore. Back, scale to fit. Now I want to put down paths here. We have a few new paths here, not in the outdoor, but in the, we're going to sort them eventually in a better way. But for internal testing, I have them in background paths. Let's start with the cliffs at the side, which is, let's put them back to 100 here. I can't remember, what was the map looking like? I think
top left to
I think there was something like
something like that, and you can finish off that cliff. Yep,
yes,
something like that.
and let's done. I think it is
Bit
with
bigger.
opacity. So let's fix that. Edit path. Let's put that. Come on. Let's put that out here, and we need to flip the texture so that it looks like that. And editing, great, love it.
Another one that does basically the half of the map. Yeah,
So
on the right.
that one is going
A
down
bit further down.
here, and I think it actually,
it tapers off. Yes.
yeah. So it's not fading, but it's shrinking at the end, and probably with a lot more shrink distance. Oh, that's the start. Sorry, the end. There you go. And I need to flip the texture back. Okay, so we have the cliffs in there. We're going to look at it in detail once I'm done. Because that timer is stressing me out. Oh, I want to, by the way, here are the lock buttons. So if I select that and I don't really want to, I can quickly select those things and lock them.
Oh, that's lovely.
Yeah, it's going to work for everything. It's not implemented for all at the moment, but it will be eventually.
Right.
So next is the dirt path, which is fine. So it's basically, let's wobble it a little bit down here.
Yep. Then
Then
you circle around the
Circling
giant
around
head.
here and is going out and editing up that it's also. We don't want any shrink on it.
Chat saying we need to roll a location. This is supposed to be a spaceport, Till, just so you know. If you have flashbacks from the last battle madness.
Battlemap. Yeah, I do. I actually do have flashbacks. It feels a lot like that. Okay, so we have that. We're almost done, aren't we? Now let's.
Well, you've still got some wagons,
Yeah,
the head, the crates.
But let's do some brushes first. So let's start with let's start with a little bit of this here. And while we're at it, I will do the same here. And probably somewhere here.
Yeah, and you need some in the middle of your circle.
Yeah, let's do some here. Well, okay, it's fine. And editing.
5 minutes, 30 seconds remaining.
Yeah. Oh, now you're giving. Well. Okay, so there's a second type of still, as you can see, we will see in detail once I'm done with it. But I really like the. Oh, that was not good. I really like the way that they are blending. Okay, so we have that and editing. Now let's go for, I think this is grass wood. Yes, that's a nice one. Let's do this one. So we have some patch, and we're also going to do them along the road. Don't worry, I will send them back in a second.
Yep, with that new arrangement tool, it's so convenient.
Yeah, exactly. So I can go arrange send to front, or I press my hotkey for it. So now we have that, and let's. Yep, that's fine. Let's add some more grass here, and maybe we want to have it probably here and here, and of course here. Here. Okay, done. I feel like I'm happy with it. We also need to send those back to front. Let's bring in the head. Which is background prop. Well, there's only one there, but we'll use it. Now, let's make it like this. And let's bring in
some crates. I think you need to head to the...
Yeah, that's tents and wagons, I think. Oops, tents and wagons I've been using here. So we have a tent here. Here. And then there was a crate here. Let's make this a bit smaller. And we have a fireplace. That one could be actually a bit bigger.
3 minutes.
Oh, shut up.
All right. Reinhard B100, do I ever look at Twitch chat? I thought the Twitch chat was being shared with me, to be perfectly honest with you. So I am not sure if there are questions on Twitch that I have been missing. Boaty, if you could please bring those across, then I can answer them there. I'm terribly sorry, Twitch. I actually thought they were being shared with me. Till, why aren't you using the automated resize, rescale, and rotate option?
Smartest. Yes, I could.
I'm on your side. I'm trying to help you. You've only got 2 minutes, 20 seconds.
Auto scale between 80 and 120 and auto rotate. Okay. I still want that bigger, but that's fine. I think there was probably, let's put a tree here. And also, I can cheat a little because I know.
Yeah, and there was a tree just over the tents as well.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, okay. So, happy with that. Now...
There was some rocks.
1 minute. What? There was what?
Rocks in the south, building rubble from the jungle expansion pack.
Oh, I don't care about that. I want globe. Because I only have a minute left. And let me put a light source here. And let's adjust the light source. So first of all, the color should be warmer, something like this. Second, the range can be, I don't know, let's do 80. Okay. So something like this, which means that the light source range with color. Yeah, I'm fine with it. Let's reduce the stage color a little bit to make it darker. And
57 seconds.
Should have done it before, but I did not. So I'll have to quickly try to adjust it for at least a few. Oh, and also the head is throwing its light into the wrong direction. So let's put the head like this.
Do you have a reference map that you're working from?
No, I was
This
just
is just from memory.
yes, I was just looking at the shadow on the head.
20 seconds. You need to hide the globe.
Oh, thank you. I think something's missing here, but I don't know.
You disadvantage yourself by making your little campsite smaller than it is.
Yeah.
There we go. Time up. And I have to say, folks, I think you deserve a round of applause for that one.
Okay, let's take the time and zoom in, because this is, oh, I know what I forgot. I want to add that quickly, scale to fit, because I really enjoy the classic dungeon
overlay. Yes, the grid.
The grid, yeah. So let's do classic dungeon grid instead of our regular grid, which means let's do it like this and colorize it white, but reduce opacity, which means that, and that's why I like the grid as a brush so much more, because now I can, remove, I should be.
Still in plus, yeah.
Yeah.
And just, yeah.
From things that are simply not, yeah, there you go. Okay. So let's
Chat's saying that you're cheating because this should have been part of your 10 minutes.
Okay.
All right. Well, look, I mean, I feel like, folks, we should really award this to Till for having done what he said he was going to do. I mean, when you look at the original, which I have had the luxury of having up, I was watching as Till was drawing this, and I'm like, I don't know how he remembers where he put stuff. So absolutely a fantastic demonstration.
And again, I feel like the important part is the level of detail. Let me quickly turn off the lighting, because that makes it much easier to look at it and get rid of the grid. The level of detail is just insane. And if you wonder what you can do with it, I've brought another map to showcase. And that's this one. And here you can see all the other background elements that exist. So this is water background with brushes that work in transition to rock. We have the same with brushes in transition to grass, which then works, and now we're back in the grass map, which again has the grass cliff, and a new rock cliff that is available here as well, because now we're transitioning from grass into rock as we go down, and it gets more rocky, less grassy, until we come back to a transition. So this is a path. If I get rid of it, you can see this is a regular transition from rock to water. It's the same as in the other corner that we just had. But there is also a specific rock path that is specifically tailored to the rock environment, which we now are slowly transitioning over into woodland as we go over here, which has its own woodland cliff. And of course, if we want to transition wood into water, we now have that transition as well. And if you're wondering how that works, again, all those things, let me zoom out. So this is the whole map in total, right? Where it all kind of, I was using it while I was creating all those assets to see if they all fit each other, which is mind-boggling because there are so many different combinations. But I think this is the most fun I have at the moment, is sitting down and creating all those different combinations. And Tony and I are working on methods to create those things in a way that I can combine them. But technically, if I remove all those things, we will see that at the end, those are the initial biomes, right? These are the background. Oh, sorry, there's still some stuff here. So those are the backgrounds. And by adding brushes in and combining those backgrounds with brushes, I can do so amazing stuff now. Because the way that the backgrounds work in alignment with the textures and all the other assets makes it look so much more stunning. But that's not even like, this is just the basics, because what we are now doing for the backgrounds is my brain, where do I want to go? There, I want to go there, library. Is rotation is 0 and this is 100. Oh, that's why I have the randomize still on. And I think I'm dropping a shadow here. What we are doing for you is we're using this system to generate, and again, it looks weird on the zoom out, but if you go in at 100%, it is absolutely beautiful. So we are using this system to create a huge variety of presets, what we will be calling sceneries. So the head, for example, is one part of a scenery. We can give you the map with the head as a scenery that you just load up, put in. So if you want to have a camp next to the head, all you need to do is you place down tents. But if you want to have a pond, you just put a pond there and it's done. So it's click, 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 done. If you, however, enjoy drawing down to the very detail, then you have all those brushes and paths and different objects that you can use to, again, combine them in templates or combine them in your own creations. So if you would like to have, no, not short grass. What am I doing? Oh, right, I know what I'm doing. Oh, I haven't uploaded it, unfortunate. There are some cliff sceneries that we are preparing for you. There are some water or pond sceneries that we are preparing for you. So this is, it's aiming towards two directions. It's aiming to those who have little time but want to have beautiful maps, as well as to those who want to use the system to expand with their own art style upon it. And I'm just super in love with it. I think it's gorgeous and so much fun to work with.
It's spectacular. And just a reminder to you, if you are watching, unfortunately, just because of the way that the technology works, what you are seeing coming to us from Till is already heavily compressed, and then we're sending it back out to you. So those textures are absolutely stunning. I can't wait for the. When did you say this patch was coming out? In a week, 2 weeks time?
Yeah, in 2 weeks time. So we want to make sure that we have it out to you before Easter. Tony and I, this is a lot of work. Like drawing a 4K image that is with all the love and detail in there, is like, with the feedback back and forth and me adjusting, it's approximately a week to get such a base set of backgrounds and textures working. So it will be here you can see the ones that we have already achieved, which is like forest, plain forest, rocks, grass transition to forest, water, and simple grass. We might be able to do one more, which again brings another ton of varieties, because if we now introduce desert, we have to think about desert to rock, desert to forest, desert to grass, all those different kinds of combinations. But our goal is to, by the end of summer, to establish. Now, funnily enough, there is a book coming out about epic locations. And there are, I think, 16 biomes in there that are
18,
being tackled.
Yeah.
18, yeah.
Yeah.
So for some reason, they will be prioritized from our side. So we have, for all of them, we have the perfect background combinations. But then again, what I said before, with each new pack, we will release a new background with this pack, and we will make sure that this background is at least combinable with the core essentials. And I think from our side, the core essentials are, it should be combinable with grass. So you have a transition to grass, and it should be combinable to rock. So we have a transition to rock, whatever it is. And then there might be like we're looking at a four-sided transition thing. So it's always transitioning to grass, it's always transitioning to rock, and then it might be transitioning to water, and then we don't know what the last one is. Probably sand or dry dust, because
dirt or something.
Exactly. With those, you will be really, really well suited to get everything working.
Lots of questions. So firstly, let's see. Lord God says, how close is this to procedurally generating a map from a set of assets so that you can have unique scenery from a set of assets?
Not very close. This is far away. However, it is getting closer. We're working our way towards concepts that we have been at least conceptualizing for quite some time. And that is, if you think about a room, right? And you have, let's just quickly draw a room here. This is a very big texture. Let's put that down to 50%. So if you have a room and you want to fill the room with, let's make this darker for a second. Yeah, but of course we need to reduce the softness. You want to fill it with different textures, like I think there is, I'm not sure if I can quickly find it. Moss tiling might be. I'm searching classical dungeons.
I think what Lord God is saying is map GPT.
Map GPT. Yeah, exactly. So if you want to combine this with different things, what we can do and what we would love to do is, when you create such a room, we can use something like a noise pattern or some kind of procedural generated shapes, brush shapes in there that we can fill with the right as the textures that are already working with each other. So that's where we want to go. And this is probably something that we will tackle with version 6. But for now, there's no procedural generation apart from giving you all the tools you need to manually create them. And you are the one who's processing the generation.
Spend 5 dungeon coins to get 1 minute of using map GPT so that you can type in castle in a forest and it will generate a castle in a forest that you can go in and edit. I think that sounds brilliant. I think that's great. That's lovely. All right, that's that question.
There are a few concepts with ChatGPT though that we would like to follow up on, because I think room descriptions for a room should be a really cool thing to do. But we will see. Like we do know that there are some things that we want to tackle. It's, as always, it's just a question of, as a small team, we need to prioritize what can we do and what can we not in the time that we have, because apparently time works differently for us, and we're suddenly I just went into January, and you were telling me today that we are end of March.
Richard Potiate asks, is there a tutorial on how to blend objects together to get the merging effect? I don't think there is a tutorial specifically. There's a tutorial on the brush tool.
Exactly. You should probably look at the tutorial called brushes, because there I think the blending is in there. I'm fairly certain that with the backgrounds being released, we will do a new tutorial on how to work with the backgrounds. And there will be another detail about blending those edges, because as you can see, if I place down two different backgrounds and they're not tiling up perfectly, I can at least go in there and use some of my brushes, which is...
I think they're different sizes.
Yeah, they're different sizes at the moment. Not sure why, but that's test server.
Yeah, exactly. Incubus Gaming says, any chance version 6 will fix room shadows missing from the walls of rooms under them?
Yes. Again, the reason for that is that our rooms tool is it's the same reason why rooms can't be transparent at the bottom floor, is because the way that we structured it was kind of before we introduced lighting and all the and levels. So some of the concepts are still old and need to be revisited, but that is something that we can do with version 6.
There you go. All right, Till, let's switch back as we move from your map making skills to your map making skills. Here we go. 3, 2, 1, and switch. And then I have to turn your green screen back on again. Now you get to see behind the magic. No, you don't. All right. Yeah. What has broken there? You know what? I'm just going to take us to there, and that'll work fine. So there we are. All right, we're talking Community Spotlight, and we are looking at 5 artists this month, as we normally do now. Till, just remind us, how do you choose these 5?
So when you go to the Community Hub on DungeonFog, you can see that there is a section called Hottest Maps. And over the course of a month, we monitor the maps that are in the Hottest Map section. And whenever we find a map that we think is outstanding, then we add it into our list of let's say, in our backlog of highlightable maps. And at the a week or a couple of days before mapping it out starts, we have a little team conversation where we compare the maps that we all shared with each other and said, those are amazing maps. So the criteria are, if people like your map with a little heart icon, giving a like to it, and clone the map, they will be pushed into the Hottest Map section. So that's how you get your map in there. So the best way to get your map in there is share it with the community. Make it public so it shows up on the Community Hub.
Give it some tags.
Yeah, give it some tags. Make it searchable. Make it easy to find. Also create your profile, your Community Hub profile, so people can follow you and see more maps, because that's how you earn likes and clones, which are factored in to bring you on the Hottest Map section. And the last step then basically is us looking at those maps and curating them a little bit, saying, okay, yeah, that's a really good one. This is a very interesting one. We might have seen that user quite often now. Maybe we have some newcomer that we want to highlight. So that's the way how we approach it. However, the second you end up in our community spotlight, which is not only here in the stream, you can find it on the website as well. There is a section called Monthly Spotlight, and there's a news article. Those artists get this beautiful community spotlight badge to their profile, which again is shown on the profile page of the community.
There you go. All right. Just before we go into the actual maps, there was a question that came through from Richard Potier, which was, when can we expect these features? So that's the system backgrounds. Mm-hmm. When can we expect these features in DEIOS?
So the thing is that DEIOS and the Battlemap Editor have a completely different core mechanic, the way they work. Because DEIOS is, we're talking about a couple of thousand pixels in each dimension if you want to create DEIOS maps. For the city map maker, it is interesting because city maps are not Earth-sized, at least unless you're kind of building Coruscant. But for that, we might be looking at it. For the world map editor, we're looking at a different way because we have been looking at ways to proceed, in that case, to procedurally generate using shader systems to create more interesting, more diverse world backgrounds, world textures. But the world map editor is not working with the same kind of pixel-based texture tool that the Battlemap editor does. However, we want to bring them as close together as we can, so we know that we have concepts that we can apply from here to there.
All right. So our first user for tonight in the community spotlight is X8XID82. I don't know how else to say that.
Yes, and that is actually, I think that's an amazing. So the map is amazing, but what makes me even more happy is that it shows how active the community is on the hub, because that map is from Keora's Dark Lord set, which I think was released 2 years ago. And that map might be old, but still people are finding it because the way that our new suggestion system works is that this map gets suggested to people and they clone it and they say, oh, I like it, I clone it. So a map that was created 2 years ago is resurfacing into the hottest map section, which I find a good proof that our recommendation system is working better than before, at least. It's a beautiful map. It is. Yeah. The lighting is amazing. The way that lighting textures are combined is really cool. And I've always been a great fan of the Dark Lord asset pack from Keora because it has those very vampire-like blood red tones. So it's a beautiful map. Yeah.
Alrighty. Newcomer to the spotlight, we've got Ham #6219.
Also an amazing map, and also this map is using a lot of the new paths and props that are from Forgotten Adventures, who are partner of us in the marketplace. So I'm super happy to see that maps that are using marketplace assets and not just the DungeonFog content subscription assets are now slowly surfacing in the community hub. And if you don't know, let me quickly point out that for at least for Forgotten Adventures, but the other artists are adjusting as well. If you are a Patreon to those creators, you get all their Patreon packs included in the Battlemap editor for free. Like they're automatically in there. So you don't have to, especially if you are Patreon following Forgotten Adventures, you don't have to repurchase those packs. You just have to connect your Patreon account with DungeonFog, and it will communicate to Forgotten Adventures that you get access to those assets. So make sure that you check that out.
Lovely. Some comments. People are absolutely loving the look of this map. One of the suggestions is, I wish, this is Colin Porter, I just wish they would name their packs better so you don't get Building Pack 1, Building Pack 2, Building Pack 3.
Yeah, but they have thousands. Like, this is, they have tens of thousands of assets, and I know that this is super hard. They started tagging better with our internal tagging system, but we're running into the same problem where we're like, how should we name all the packs that we have there? Because it's getting more and more polluted. That's why I'm so happy that the asset manager is coming down the line, because that will make a much better search and organize option for everyone to get a hold of those. I'm not sure, but I believe with Planet Hoppers joining us now, we're probably getting close to 100,000 assets in the system. And that is a lot to organize, to structure, to collect, to group. So I'm very much looking forward to the asset manager.
Someone who has already been called out in chat, although friendly, I hope, and is no stranger to the community hub, well, that just make beautiful maps. It's BattleSource.
Yes.
I mean,
Lord God, right? Is it BattleSource?
BattleSource.
Oh, it's BattleSource. Sorry, apologies, BattleSource. Yes, they are. I think they're very close to being a movie poster, or a book cover. These are mind blowing. The light, the color, the details is amazing. So those are two. They're called Circle 1 and Circle 2. I hope
Rainbow and Lust. Yeah.
Right. I hope that there will be more circles. It's hard to show on stream. I can only recommend, go to the community hub, grab the maps, and look at them. You can learn something from how they are done, because they're very well structured and created. And B, you can only really enjoy the full beauty of those maps if you have them open in high resolution. They're amazing.
Yeah. A question has been raised. Has Lord God chosen or been challenged to do a battle for his crown? Map
We're
battle
trying
maps.
to get it. We're trying to get it in this this year. We're celebrating our 5th anniversary in October, and I'm doing my best to get the next map battle madness up around that time. But no, Lord God has not been challenged yet, and we will hopefully do it this year.
Ooh, there you go. Next up, in 4th position, but not voted 4th position, just
this is just random order.
4, we have Mokattam.
Mokattam, yeah. Also, a really nice map. I feel like this could be a Curse of Strahd map, maybe.
Bavlorna's Cottage. Yes, it certainly sounds like it.
It's with the fog surrounding the cottage, with the with the love of detail to the molded and rotten floor panels. It also, again, labeled rare, but not super rare. I see more and more labeled maps recently coming up. So it's a beautiful map, and again, grab it, look at it, and use it for one of your games, because that's the whole idea of the community hub, is that you don't have to draw all those maps yourself. You just grab one, and if you don't need the room up top right, just remove it and put your own room in there, because they stay editable. That's the whole idea behind the community hub.
So Incubus Gaming has declared publicly a challenge.
Oh, nice.
And Lord God has responded with, bring it.
Okay, cool.
There we go. That would be interesting. Right, and then our final map for the evening, which I think is stunning, is
Yes.
by Arcane and the Imperial City Street.
Yeah, again, grab it, because what you can't see on stream, I believe, is this is not just an Imperial Street. This is an Imperial Street that is currently celebrating something, because you can see confetti flying around, and it is a beautiful, like really well executed combination of textures from Forgotten Adventures with assets from DungeonFog, which means that they have been color adjusted so that they fit each other. And I don't think, I mean, well, I have seen a few maps that are in with that love to color combination. But this is a really good example of how you can bring together art styles from different artists and still make them match on a map. Because I can see that the Tents and Wagons pack has been used to create those, how do you call baldachins? How do you call those?
The bollards, or the canvas covers, you mean?
Yeah, canvas covers, right. Then we have the wagons. Then we have an old wagon, I think, from a merchant's pack. There are our roofs in there, but then textures from Forgotten Adventures, and it's brilliant. It's such a beautiful map, and again, it feels super alive.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now, we are talking community, and so just a few little community roundups to discuss. We've got a new artist, Till, you've already mentioned it at the beginning of the stream. But tell us, who is the new artist who's added their work to that?
So if you didn't know Matt Cartographer before, I think he's a quite famous map artist in our niche, in our community place. The Map Cartographer has already been announced that he's going to join us. Now he has a ton of assets, which took some time to prepare for the Map team. But they have now started uploading, and they have started, which actually makes me quite happy. They didn't start with their fantasy assets. They actually started with their sci-fi assets. So when you go to the marketplace, you can see that there is a ton of asset packs that are branded from the Planet Hoppers, which is kind of a subdivision or a sub-brand to the Map Cartographer. So the Planet Hoppers, how would you call that? Brand? Franchise?
Yeah.
Franchise is filled with sci-fi assets from all the different settings. There are so many things out there. And they're already on the marketplace. So that has already launched, that has started. And now the Map Cartographer is working on the fantasy packs. And again, as soon as our backgrounds are out, Map Cartographer will most likely also bring their map backgrounds, because they have quite a lot of beautiful maps that they do as kind of preset maps. They will hopefully find their way into the Battlemap Editor too.
Now, Bodhi is just reminding us that there is also a free pack to claim.
Yes. When you go to the marketplace, you can see that the Planet Hopper packs, there is one that is free to claim, so you just grab it and it's yours. Also, we're now in the process of connecting them to Patreon. So if you are already a Patreon who's following the Map Cartographer, you might want to wait a bit, because they might be connected to Patreon soon.
Makes sense. Good question here is from This Is Battle Source. So to use these commercially, so these are map packs from other artists, not from
Yes.
DungeonFog itself, we would need to be a subscriber to their Patreon or work it out with the pack creator directly. Is that correct?
Our marketplace has its own licensing system that we offer the artists. So if they want to publish the pack under a commercial license, they can do so, and you can find it in the marketplace under the according commercial license. So if you look at the pack and you select the purchase options, if there is no commercial license offered, then this pack is not offered for commercial products. Which means that if you want to register such a map in DungeonFog, you get a notification that this map contains assets that are not available for commercial licensing. So you can't do.
But you could reach out to the artists specifically.
Yes. So again, if you're a Patreon, if you're a Patreon follower, and again, this is something that the map cartographer and I are working out at the moment, but they can, of course, offer the same pack under a Patreon tier. If they have a Patreon tier that offers commercial license, they can connect that to our marketplace as well.
Lovely. Okay, so from enhancing the community hub and the asset packs to a different community, one that has been working with you guys for a very long time, and that's the World Anvil community.
Yes.
Now, World Anvil are doing something for April, and DungeonFog is right alongside.
Is right alongside. Exactly. So April is at the door, and World Anvil has, I think they're doing that for a couple of years now. They have the Adventure April, which is a full month full of ideas, prompts, suggestions on how to create an adventure. So the call is, it's a community contest that says, hey, create your adventure in Adventures April. And World Anvil is offering all the prompts and tools to guide you through that process, which means that we said, well, one part of that journey on World Anvil is the map creation for such an adventure. So we are tagging along and we say, okay, let's do something together. Starting next week, there will be a blog post on a news post on our website, where we talk a little bit about the ideas on how to get maps working for your adventures, how to design those maps, how to plan your adventure and your map in accordance. And we will have a little challenge that says create your adventure map and put it into your Adventure April blog post on, or how do you call it, world post on World Anvil. And if you tag your map with hashtag, like in our tagging system, with Adventure April, then you will, of course, get a badge from us.
There you go. Badges are always nice to have. Get those badges. All right. Well, I think, let me just check my notes. Yes, so we've seen all of the updates that are coming. Just remind us, is that everything that's coming up in the next few weeks?
Well, we have a lot of things lined up, and we actually we're a bit, well, we're trying to stay on our schedule. So I can't say too much, but there was another thing that we have been working on, and I so hope that we get it out this week. It's a bit of a surprise, so wait for it, but have a look at the DungeonFog website and our Discord, because very soon, I hope, knock on wood, very soon, we will have another little neat feature for the Battlemap Editor ready to be released. And that will be by most likely the end of the week.
All right.
That's all I say right now, because I want to keep the surprise.
There you go. Okay, you heard it here. There's more to come, hopefully, by the end of the week. Okay, Till, I think that's it from the Battlemap Editor and from Project DEIOS for this month.
Well,
Any final thoughts?
No. No, I'm happy.
Okay.
I'm also like I don't know what time it is. Oh, we've spent a lot of time in our stream tonight. I'm up since 6 a.m. in the morning. So I'm like, I can feel my energy draining out. No, thank you guys for staying around so long. It was a pleasure. I had a lot of fun showing the stuff. I hope you enjoyed it. Apologies that DEIOS is shorter than usual for this month's stream because, again, it's a lot of coding, but I'm pretty sure next month we can show more for DEIOS. Thanks for hanging around. And Guy, as always, thank you very much for moderating.
My absolute pleasure. And so to all of you who've been watching, all that we have left to say is...
Happy map making.
I thought you were going to let me do it this time. So close. Ah!